we're gonna get into LeBron, who, LeBron, publicly, I can't think of one time where LeBron was really getting raked through the coals, other than China. I think a few years ago, he stepped his feet in mud when it came to China, and he had to bend the knee. Other than that, LeBron has never really been a backlash kind of person. He pretty much toes the company line. He's like the NBA's Tom Brady. He doesn't really get controversial unless he knows he's going to be applauded for it. So he'll get on his social justice high horse because he knows that most people are going to agree with that. But otherwise, he kind of stays out the way until now when he put out a tweet welcoming home Big Meech. And not a lot of people are happy about this. A lot of people are, kind of clowning LeBron for getting onto his social media platforms and welcoming home a guy who, similar to the last topic that we did, um, you know, depending on your opinion and your perspective, did a lot of harm for the community. So this says LeBron James under fire for celebrating Big Meech's prison release. Earlier this week, Big Meech was released from prison after spending almost 2 decades behind bars. Reportedly, the Black Mafia family founder will stay at a halfway house until 2026, when he'll begin serving 5 years of supervised release. TMZ reports that he must take part in a substance abuse program, which could potentially include drug and alcohol testing. As expected, countless social media users have weighed in on Big Meech's release, and many are celebrating it. Sexy Red, Rick Ross, Boosie Badass, none of those names should come as a surprise, and more have shared positive reactions to the news in recent days. Yesterday, LeBron James even took to Twitter/X to respond. Welcome home, Big Meech, he wrote. This has earned the athlete some backlash, however, as some users argue that celebrating a former drug kingpin's freedom sends the wrong message. So there you can see the tweet right there. The article goes on to say, glorifying the wrong people, one replies. Welcome home, a murderer, killer of kids through drugs, killer of countless mothers, fathers, and families. You want to fit in so bad, want to be hip and cool, so bad that you just follow whatever is deemed cool at the moment. Shame on you. Grow the F up. Another writes, clearly it's up for debate whether or not Big Meech's release is something to celebrate. However, to his lawyer, Brittany K. Barnett, however, he's turned over a new leaf. I'm overjoyed that Demetrius Flannery is finally free after 20 years behind bars. Two decades is an incredibly long time, and it's been inspiring to witness the couple of hope. And it's been inspiring to witness the power of hope and resilience, she told Hot 97 this week. He used his time in prison to focus on personal growth and transformation, and now he has the opportunity to begin a new chapter. Not a lot of people are appreciative of the fact that LeBron James joined in the chorus to celebrate Big Meech's release from prison. What do you think about LeBron celebrating Big Meech's release, and what do you think about those who had something to say about it?
My first thoughts is, hey guys, hit the like and subscribe. We do this every Tuesday. Join the party, join the live. Drop some comments as we go live because we'll love to hear y'all's feedback on these topics as we go along. But I guess LeBron thinks I guess he thinks he's Big Meech or Larry Hoover. I guess he thinks he's part of the rap game. I guess he thinks he's BMF. But when you dig back into LeBron's history and you see how he came about, this shouldn't serve too much as a surprise. Now, when he first got into the game, he was still in high school. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Chosen One, right? And he got it tatted on his back. Came in the NBA and took off running, hanging out with the likes of Jay-Z, the Diddler, and I think he also hung out with Big Meech. Allegedly, at least from what I hear, he went to a party or two, or he took a picture or something like that with Big Meech. So uh, LeBron is the industry. He's the industry personified. And when you say he totes the company line, he doesn't just tote the NBA company line. He totes the industry company line. When it comes to, for instance, the whole China thing, like you brought up, even when he was doing that, he was doing a company line for the and when the streets ripped into him, then yeah, of course he had to back up off of that. But that was him doing company line stuff. When Kyrie had his little faux pas, if you want to call it a faux pas, here comes LeBron unmuting and throwing Kyrie under the bus. Company line stuff. With all of this stuff swirling around with there's no party like a Diddy party, and all of this mayhem happening with allegations and stuff, he's quiet as a bird, or as a mouse, I guess. And he's super quiet about stuff like that, but he'll unmute and say other things. We're going to cover the WNBA thing that happened in the finals. He wants to unmute about that and talk about that. He wants to talk about Big Meech coming home, but he doesn't talk about stuff out there that's really swirling around his own name. Allegations of PEDs, allegations of him hanging out and actually being at Diddy parties. There's a New York NYPD dude, a cop, who he said that, hey man, we know for sure he was at those functions. He used to go to those parties. We know that. So LeBron picks and chooses, but my whole point of saying all of that stuff is he's a company man when it comes to the industry. And so part of him toting the company line is welcoming home Big Meech. Now, that stuff in the article where they're saying that, hey, man, he's been locked up for, 2 decades or almost 2 decades, and he's turned over a new leaf, and, he paid his debt to society basically and all of that stuff. Hey, that's great. But that's not how he's being celebrated.
Exactly.
That's not how his name was being circulated for the last 2 decades.
Exactly. Yes.
So his name was being celebrated as that of a drug kingpin. One of the biggest, baddest guys around. Talk about BET and stuff like that, where they have actual documentaries about people like Big Meech, and they celebrate them. No wonder Dirk got keys to the city. So it's that company line stuff. That stuff that keeps us in this perpetual cycle. So just like how I was throwing stones at those 2 mayors, LeBron gets the same kinds of stones because he should know better. What makes this even corny is the salute afterwards. You saluting this man? For what? The guy that has a school called I Promise that's supposed to be getting kids out of these types of circumstances, but you're celebrating a man who did those circumstances historically. People that still live in that lifestyle still hold him up as a street Jesus, as a prophet of selling cocaines. Of course, Rick Ross said, welcome home. Of course, Boosie Badass said, welcome. Of course, Sexy Red said, welcome home. So LeBron, a man that's supposed to be, the role model, the super role model for all the young youth growing up wanting to get out of the streets. Are you in the same class as those people? Yeah, I mean, he would tell us that he's not. He would tell us that he's clean cut and never did no wrong, man. But when you're part of the industry and you're toting that company line, he has to do his job to make sure we stay in this goofy little cycle. So yeah, I'm not going for this. I am with the internet. When I first saw this, I just laughed like, what a wannabe clown. And I'm glad nobody's going for it. And even I've seen people that even defend LeBron all the time. They said it in the comment section in some videos, and they say, "Hey, look, I go to bat for LeBron all the time, and I can't even go for this," and rightfully so. So yeah, LeBron, keep tweeting, keep telling on yourself, because I'm quite frankly here to enjoy it. But what are your thoughts on Sir LeBron James, some people's king out here, celebrating Big Meech coming home? What are your thoughts, man?
A lot of people's king. He's a lot of people's king.
Hey, none of
Yeah.
mine.
I don't have too much to add to what you said. I co-sign all of that 100%. Um, LeBron is a hip hop kid. LeBron is a hip hop kid through and through. So, he's in our generation. LeBron is barely a year older than me. Like we're the same age essentially. So we grew up late 80s into the 90s. We're a part of the same era where, the conditioning of hip hop as such that it's the synonymous representation of the authentic black condition really took hold with our generation, and he's a part of that. So ever since he's been onto the scene, he's championed the music. He runs in the same social circles. Whenever not whenever, but oftentimes when he does post onto his socials, he's listening to some rapper, rapping along to some of the lyrics and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll bring that up to say that he's very much ingratiated with hip hop culture, both as a consumer of it and in terms of actually rubbing elbows with the people who are practitioners of it. He's a part of the industry from that standpoint, but he's also a consumer because he loves to listen to it. And just like you alluded to that quote, authentically representing these communities, just like 50 Cent can say that his power shows authentically represent Black and Latino communities, and he really believes that. He's not just saying it to say it, he really believes that.
Mhm.
LeBron is probably someone who believes that rap and hip hop authentically represents the Black experience. He believes that. So if you are someone who believes that, and the celebration of people like Big Meech is very much a part of the tapestry of that music, then he would also be consistent in celebrating the release or the good fortunes of an individual who is a part of the tapestry of that music. So honestly, I wasn't surprised to hear him do this, albeit I do find it to be very clownish. And, you know, it isn't that as you said, it isn't as though LeBron said something to the effect of, "Welcome home, Big Meech. I'm glad that you had the time and the opportunity to rehabilitate yourself. Looking forward to this next chapter in your life," or something to that effect.
Yeah.
It was about "Welcome home, Big Meech. We want to welcome home the conquering hero, who did his bid, and now he's been released." I would imagine he also thinks that he was done wrong by the system, and that he was incarcerated for a little too long and been given too harsh a punishment. Right. So all the way around, I don't like any of this. It smells rotten. But again, when it comes to the intersection of hip hop and life and reality, there is no separation of content from responsibility. We lump it all in until it's just this large, gooey amalgamation of anything goes. So you can be philanthropic, but then put out an album where every song is about street stuff. That's okay because we don't care. You can talk about the good that you want to do in your community, and you can do speaking engagements at forward thinking conferences talking about the problems with the music industry, but then you get right back to making the kind of music that you said the music industry profits off of, and that being a negative thing, because no one's going to say, "Hey, stop, we need to check you on this," because that's no longer going to fly. You need to be more consistent with this. And LeBron's a part of that. So no, well, the internet thankfully checked him on that, but
Yes.
the circles that he runs with, um, he's just he's falling right in line with Sexy Reds and the Rick Ross and anybody else who says it's great that you've come home. Because again, we're not celebrating the fact that he is perhaps rehabilitated and therefore going to do something different to impact others and be a contributing member of society. This is all about, look at what you was doing and how you was living 20 years ago, and that was so inspiring. So I'm glad you're home because you are an inspiration for the rest of us, given what you used to do and the life that you used to live. And yeah, a part of that does rub me the wrong way because I don't appreciate the kind of implicit message that sends to others who are perhaps on the fences, teetering with respect to whether this is something that needs to be emulated or not. And when you have someone who is as important as him, LeBron, the king, chosen one, greatest player of all time, greatest player of all time, all this other stuff that people say, as influential a voice as he does have, because every time he says something, people want to talk about it. I think that it's walking a fine line in terms of the potential perpetuation of certain tropes based upon your endorsement of this kind of thing. So I didn't like it, but I'm also not surprised. This is the hip hop community speaking up for one of its champions.
Yeah, agreed, man. And one thing that we have to look at when we're dealing with these athletes, um, professional athletes, so and entertainers, they all fit in the same bucket of master distractors. And as you mentioned, whenever LeBron even tweets something, the world goes crazy. Over here, what we're doing is when we're covering stuff like this, is that we're balancing out the chaos, I would say, whenever LeBron does anything. But nevertheless, it's still serving as a distraction. The sport itself serves as a distraction because if these athletes that even attempt to try to make it into the league actually use that level of dedication, that level of work ethic towards STEM research, we would be flying out of the laboratory. All right, our beaker game is going to be crazy. All right, working triple beams, not like Big Meech. Okay, and the world would be a lot different. But we have these athletes and entertainers here to chuck and jive to distract us. And LeBron is a master distractor, if you ask me. And so him being the chosen one is deeper than him being the chosen one in basketball, if you ask me as well. That big old tattoo on his chest is actually, with that little lion man or whatever. That's a boule tattoo. He didn't go to no college or university in order to be Phi Sigma, whatever the hell it is. But he's boule. And their job is to distract our community. All right. So that's the Tyler Perry's, that's the Oprah Winfrey's, that's the people Kamala Harris goes and visit and talk to, you know, the Black Caucus, all of these things that's here to serve to distract us. And so LeBron James is that, getting fat off the riches of being a distraction for our community. Even in the past, he was praising King Von. He's got a tweet out there he called himself LeVon James. Yeah. Now, everybody knows King Von was a menace and a serial unaliver. And then here comes LeBron James praising this man, no different than he's praising Big Meech. I think LeBron James has other things in mind for our community other than the uplifting of it. I think his job is to serve as a distraction to our people and get them invested in stuff that doesn't serve us. He's another person that is in very high circles, rubs elbows with people who do know better, but then he talks to us with this rapper mindset. I'm not going for it. And I've never went for it. I don't think it's due to his own ignorance. I think it's intentional. And the league lets him get away with the PEDs and all of the stuff that he's obviously on because he's the only distraction. They've been looking for a LeBron replacement for the longest. Hadn't found one yet.
Yeah, they can't find him.
Can't find one. So that's why he's still out here until he's going to be 43 years old. And so I already know what his job is because it ain't no party like a Diddy party. And he was in those circles and he was doing all of that madness. But his name's not going to come up in anything. So he's still going to be around for the next few years to keep doing garbage like this. So yeah, LeBron, I'm not going for this. He can say that this was just an innocent tweet and people reading too much into this. But again, when you're somebody that has the level of social control, hell, media control as this man does, I would be more inclined to use that for the upliftment of our people. What all your I promise stuff, you know, and all of your other social justice initiatives that you like to talk about. But then you want to turn around and say garbage like this. So yeah, man, not going for it. And this is why, if anybody say, "Oh, you're a LeBron hater," or you always hate on LeBron, this is why. Because of this character that goes around doing this stuff, and it ain't basketball. So yeah, man, not going for this. You know what I'm saying? Big Meech, he served this time. He did whatever. That's fine, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? People can celebrate that. The people that's close to him or whatever, that's happy to have him home. That's one thing. But this whole thing where LeBron's out here raising up this man, but don't raise up anybody else, can't go for it, man. So yeah, LeBron kick rocks, bro.
Well, part of the mind fudge is that in his mind, when he says "Welcome home, Big Meech," he is uplifting our community.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's the part. That's the aspect of this that is a true and in fact mind fudge. Is these individuals are heralded as heroes who are coming home as conquering. They're coming home as conquering heroes, and therefore they are celebrated. And the reason why they are perceived to be that way is because their namesakes are woven into the tapestry of hip hop culture. And hip hop culture, as you and I very well know, has become corporately synonymous with the black existence. So, because this thing that we call hip hop now, which has been bastardized for the last 20 to 30 years, has become synonymous with black, has become synonymous with the black existence, with black reality. And these figureheads are heralded as heroes within the context of that music. Him speaking in that way is his way of momentarily getting on Twitter to do something positive and uplifting for the community. Let's all join together in welcoming home this person. And again, this is less about Big Meech himself and more about the mentality and the thought process behind why you would tweet such a thing.
Agreed.
And again, because there is an absence of accountability when it comes to anything hip hop related, people like him can tweet this kind of stuff and not get called out, at least not publicly outside of the internet. So that's the danger inherent in this kind of thing is we talk about how he needs to spotlight people who are actually doing good, but in his mind he is spotlighting somebody who did good. That's the true tragic irony inherent in this entire story is he believes as though he is uplifting the community by doing this. And here's the thing, here's food for thought for LeBron and people and anybody else like him. If you want to tweet out "Welcome home, Big Meech," whatever, I ain't gonna hold you. I don't have the power to. You're LeBron. He could probably silence me if he knew who I was and was talking like this if he wanted to. So, so my thing is counterbalance your tweets welcoming home Big Meech with, talking glowingly about what people like Jaylen Brown do, because he's actually doing things that are going to positively impact his community, and is not wasting too much of his time on social media celebrating the release of drug dealers who did wreck families within his own community at one
Agreed.
point or another. So even if you wanted to play this, role where you're the basketball savant personality slash speaker of your community, and you want to big up people like Meech, then also big up people like Jaylen Brown. Why don't you talk about people like Killer Mike, who's actually in the local politics and understands this stuff and speaks intelligently about some of the things that it takes in order to help his people, something that LeBron doesn't do. So, well, in my opinion, he doesn't do that. But we can't even get that. And there's no requirement on his part to do it because, again, there's an absence of accountability. But hopefully, as time continues to progress, that high standard that I think needs to be had, that high standard that I am demanding of, that I think it's absolutely necessary when it comes to the consistency between what somebody does on and off their field of play will come to fruition at some point. And the chorus of people screaming that comments like this are clownish will get louder as a result. I can only hope for that. That's my biggest hope.
Yep.
So
So hey, we'll see how this pans out, man. But me personally, I'm enjoying the grilling that he's catching for this. You know, he's said and done other things in the past that, you know, I was hoping he'd catch flack for. Didn't think this would be the one, but I'm glad people are unmuting and getting at him, because, you know, there is a standard out here. We're setting a bar, and I'm glad people out there were actually calling him out, telling him to grow up. He is 40, you know what I'm saying? 39ish, turning 40. He's 40, and he should know, with 3 kids or whatever he's got going on, he should know better. So tighten up, bro.
these guys want to be rappers so bad. It's funny. Yeah, they want to be rappers so bad. You can just hear it in the way they talk. They wish that, like they want to be rappers real bad. They really do. But yeah, I like the fact that there was at least enough people who were not appreciative of that kind of thing, because it just needs to stop. It
It
needs
does.
to stop. Like the double talking with these people needs to stop. We hero worship them enough, and we've assigned them so much affluence or influence rather, that their words carry weight, and therefore the things they say are important and need to be dissected with a fine-tuned comb. And you can't allow this kind of stuff to persist without them getting checked on it. I
Yep.
just don't. I don't believe that those days are over. So I'm glad that somebody said something about this, or a lot of people said something about it.
Yep, 1,000. And let us know down in the comment section, y'all. What are your thoughts? Do you feel as though LeBron crossed the line there? You feel as though this was not his place to be welcoming home Big Meech, or you feel like it's all overblown and somebody came home and that's worth celebrating? Let me know, please. I would love to hear
Yeah, right.
it.